If we remember who we really are, we don't need to use beginner strategies like vision boards, visualization, affirmations, this technique, this spiritual ritual, this technique, this strategy. We don't need to use that stuff. Those things become tools. And I started to realize a long time ago that these tools seem to work when I'm not attached to them working, right? So when I'm not attached to things working, they work. When I'm attached to things working, they don't work. The Buddha says the root cause of all suffering is attachment. And I started to introspect and start to understand myself more in like, if we are supposed to be detached, what does that really mean? And I'm like, it's not really detachment. And it's not even connection to God. It's surrendering the idea of attachment and detachment altogether. That there's no such thing as attachment and detachment because God is not thinking attachment and detachment, that I need to let go and let God, right? Which is somewhat true. But another level to that is understanding that just choose your goal and take some actions towards it that you're inspired to do where you feel joy. I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but we want to transcend the illusion of labels because that collapses everything into one. As soon as you have a label, you have separation. What do I mean by label? Before we were saying attachment and detachment, right? Good and bad, up and down, hot and cold. These are labels. If we take away labels, if you was never taught labels from when you was born, what would happen? How would you experience life? And when I feel into that, like, how would I experience life when there's no labels? I'm just experiencing God right now. I don't know about you. Like, I don't know what you're feeling right now. Take away all labels. I'm looking at stuff here, right? There's like a window behind me over here, right? There's my camera in front of me. I'm labeling camera now. Now I'm going back into the third dimension as I'm labeling this stuff. But if I come out of that and I remove all labels and just looking around, I'm experiencing God straight away, just like that, right? So you transcended this reality and you stepped into the 4D energy. You stepped above into love or presence. This is what Eckhart Tolle talks about in the book, The Power of Now. Presence. God. Now. Here. The God frequency. Peeling back reality. Life is a beautiful experience. I'm labeling it beautiful when we don't have any labels for things. We have opinions, we have judgments, we have things we like and that we don't like. These are all labels and narratives that we spun in our brain, when in actuality, they don't mean anything. We give it meaning through our conditioning. This tastes nice, this tastes bad. I'm attracted to this kind of person, I'm not attracted to this kind of person. Back in the day, do you think they could care less about attraction? Right? If we go back to caveman or tribal days or whatever, you think they could care less about attraction? Attraction wasn't even a thing. It's become a thing because we've been taught it's a thing. So I'm attracted to this kind of person. No, you've been taught that you're attracted to this kind of person, right? And I know I'm going really deep with the attraction thing, but I just want to break down and dismantle the idea that you are attracted to a certain type of man or woman or whatever it is. You're not. You've been exposed to information, that data has gone into your brain, and you've been taught that that is attractive, right? And that is not attractive. None of it is true. There are people in the world, I don't know what people would consider a beautiful person on this channel or unattractive. considered like a, a 10 or whatever. Like for me, like someone like Beyonce, the artist Beyonce, people would consider her very attractive. But if you take the image of her and you bring her image into a tribe in the Amazon rainforest, you think they're gonna find? They think that they're gonna say, "Oh, she's attractive." They're not gonna care less. They're not gonna care less what she looks like. It's not a thing. It's not a concept to them. And so this is how deep the rabbit hole goes, and it's understanding that the beginner level law of attraction is saying, "I need to use these techniques," which is manufactured by ego, mind, right? Illusion, right? Essentially, these things make you feel in a certain way. It brings certainty, right? Or trust or knowingness about your goal. If you can get into knowingness, it's very powerful. But essentially, that's what they do. When you realize or remember who you really are, you don't need any of these techniques. So there's levels to this. And in the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about faith. I think it's chapter 3 or chapter 4. And through that, I've manifested some great success, having high levels of faith. Just have a faith as small as a mustard seed, right? When you have insatiable, like ridiculous levels of faith, woo, very powerful. It even gives me the chills right now when you have that faith. Okay. Then we have the word belief, right? Believing. I believe believing is actually a little bit lower than faith, actually. Believing is, in my opinion, right? Believing is conditioned over and over and over again, and now you believe it. You've been taught things and then you believe it. Faith is more energetically high vibrational, in my opinion. Faith is more of a knowing, right? That you've completely trusted the process, right? You've kind of surrendered the idea of manifesting a thing or whatever it is. And then above that is just knowing. Just like gravity, you don't have faith in gravity. You don't have faith in the sun coming up tomorrow. You don't believe in gravity. You don't believe gravity exists. You know it exists. And once I realize that I know it exists, then why don't I know my goal is done? It's not something that I'm getting or trying to manage. Why? I just know it's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. And then I understand I live in the physical realm. And so if it's done, I also need to take actions towards it materializing itself. But in my mind, it's not necessarily materializing itself. It's already existing in the infinite field of choices and realities. So it already exists. I just choose that reality and that's it. Now, I take inspired action. And inspired action is action from enlightenment, peace, joy, and love on the vibrational chart. If you don't know what a vibrational chart is, I'll put it on screen right now. So at the top 4 frequencies, those are the spiritual frequencies. We consider these frequencies emotions. They are not necessarily emotions. They're emotions, but they are a spiritual emotion, right? They're not emotions of the third dimension. They are emotions of the spiritual realm, right? They're very high vibrational frequency. That's enlightenment, peace, joy, and love. And when we operate from that space in our actions, we have aligned with goal, outcome immediately. That's where we are operating more from what we call or what I call the God frequency. So why would we manifest if we are God? So I have created a community on School. You can go check it out in my description if you would like to continue this journey with me. And I'll speak to you soon. Peace.